morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Carruthers, and I'm the Director of Communications and Events here at the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Growth Basics for Business, a monthly breakfast seminar series which provides a forum to gain useful do-it-yourself workplace solutions and insightful, actionable tips. Today is our second event in the 2025-26 season of Growth Basics for Business, and I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning. Now, our topic, What is a CRM, is presented by Paul Conley and Amanda Jew of Baywood Consulting. Today, we'll dive into exactly what a CRM is, how it works, and most importantly, how it helps you get a better understanding of your customers and constituents while fostering those very important relationships. Businesses and nonprofits of all sizes will benefit from today's training. We'll learn how a CRM can help us generate leads, organize our accounts, share our contacts, and discover opportunities that may just be hiding in plain sight. Like all the Chamber's virtual signature events, today's presentation is free and is being recorded. It will be made available for free replay on the Chamber's website and YouTube page. To keep up to date on all the Chamber's news and events, visit our website, portlandregion.com. Check out our events page, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and sign up for our weekly email newsletter while you're there. Now, before we begin our presentation today, I just want to remind everyone that we're using a platform called StreamYard. This platform provides improved production, and interactive elements that truly enhance our virtual events here at the Chamber. On that note, I'd like to point out that when you have questions for our presenters today, you can type them in the YouTube chat throughout their presentation as your questions come up. Paul and Amanda will have reserved a little bit of time at the end of their presentation where they can touch on any of the questions that you leave in the chat. But if anything comes up that is on topic for what they're talking about throughout their presentation, they'd be happy to pause as well. So make sure, that's a very long way of saying, make sure that you do interact with us in the chat today. And I believe Paul and Amanda will be asking you some questions as well. Now, I don't want to take any more time away from the program this morning. Plus, I think everyone has heard plenty from me. So with that, I will hand things over to Paul and Amanda. Paul and Amanda, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. We really appreciate this opportunity and also all the support that the Chamber has given Baywood Consulting. Also, a little bit of a shout out to Riley in the background, who's the mastermind of all behind the scenes pulling this all together. And we'd like to thank everyone for joining today. We know that taking an hour out of your time to talk about CRMs or to listen to us talk about CRMs probably is not the most thrilling thing and probably not high in your bucket list, but we appreciate your time and your attention. We are CRM nerds, so a bit of a warning. We do like to talk about it. And we really want to see how the CRMs can help your company. And hopefully you'll be able to walk away from this presentation with, oh, I get it now. It just makes sense how we can leverage a CRM for our company. I keep using the word we, so let's introduce ourselves. Next slide, please. So my name is Paul, and I work at Baywood Consulting. I started it about 1.5 years ago. My background with CRM started in 2006. When I joined a small startup in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. It was using Salesforce. Ever since then, every company I've been at has had has had a CRM. And for 8 years, I was an executive at Salesforce. In 2022, my family and I moved back to Maine. And if everything goes well today, the little dog Nata in the corner will stay quiet and not try to help with the presentation. I am super happy to have Amanda on the team and just want to let Amanda introduce herself.
Yeah, so I'm Amanda, and I've been working with Paul at Baywood Consulting for around 1 year now. Originally, I was more on the business development side, but as I learned more about Salesforce and CRMs, I moved towards the service delivery side. So now I do help with him with projects. And if you ever work with us, then I will be helping you as well. So the first part of our presentation is discussing all about CRMs, what they are, and who needs one. So what is a CRM? A CRM is short for Customer Relationship Management, and they were originally created for businesses to track sales channels. They are a specialized database application, meaning that a CRM is an application built purpose-built for storing data related to a business's customer information. Originally, CRMs were used as almost digital Rolodexes that would track who and where your buyers and sellers were, as well as what they wanted to buy and sell. This eventually evolved into a much more complex tool, obviously, and nowadays it's used not only for sales, but also related functions like marketing. Nowadays, most CRMs are cloud-based, meaning that they can be accessed anywhere via web browser. Therefore, users aren't limited to a single desktop or device where they are stored, because, like in the past, you can take them on the go. For instance, if you have a tablet or a laptop, you can access your CRM from there. And some CRMs even have phone apps that are dedicated to that CRM. Every business is very different, obviously. So CRMs are also generally very customizable to each business. For example, inventory-based businesses, we want to keep track of things like order volume and frequency, while a service-based business may need to keep track of customer preferences. But in general, information such as previous customer interactions, purchase history, etc., can all be tracked in the CRM so that businesses can make decisions on how to approach each individual customer based on that data. A part of the increased customization in CRMs nowadays is the ability to integrate with a lot of the standard business applications you may be using, such as your email clients, as well as your digital calendar, which can really help businesses streamline workflows. Some CRMs even offer some degree of automation, which allows you to automate things like thank you messages, follow-ups, etc. So here are just some common CRMs that you may see. I'm going to turn it over to the audience. Who is using a CRM currently? And if so, if you are using one, which one are you using? We'd be really glad to hear whether or not you're using a CRM. Okay, so now we'll do a walkthrough of how CRMs fit into the sales cycle. So a CRM allows businesses to have a more structured, repeatable sales process, and this can be broken down into a few phases, starting with a lead stage, which is the stage at which a potential customer shows some kind of interest in your product or service. From there, if a lead is qualified, they then become a prospect, which you would continue to nurture until a quote or proposal is presented, at which point this opportunity is opened to track the progress of the deal until it is closed. So phase one is the lead capture and qualification. So a lead is a potential customer who has expressed some degree of interest in what your company offers. You can collect their data by referral through website form fills, phone calls, campaigns, information exchanges, or even from things like booth scans at events. Not all leads are the same, obviously. They're either qualified or unqualified. Your business may have unique qualification criteria, but generally a lead is qualified when your team has confirmed that they are ready to convert to an opportunity and close a deal. Otherwise, if a lead is uncertain, or if they haven't made any clear agreements with you or any kind of financial commitment, they are generally classified as unqualified. Adding a lead to a CRM generally means you're filling out a form full with personal and company details and assigning them a lead status. That could be open, working, closed, or converted, depending on your own workflow, with conversion or closed generally marking entry into your sales process. Before conversion, leads often go through like what we call a nurturing phase, where sales and marketing teams engage them through emails, calls, and personalized content. This stage really helps build the lead's relationship with your company and increases the likelihood of its conversion. So having a CRM can really help you improve this conversion rate because it allows you to track your lead sources. And tracking lead sources allows you to pinpoint high yield channels and campaigns for your sales team to double on those proving prospecting and closing methods. This information, having it on hand, also helps you refine different elements of your marketing campaigns down to really granular details like email subject lines, so that you can allocate your resources more effectively. The second thing you can do with a CRM is set up lead scoring. So, lead scoring is a point based system that can help you identify and prioritize leads that are more likely to convert based on a predetermined criteria, such as budget, the authority of the person you're talking to, need, or timeline. Even things like actions that your lead has taken, for example, clicking a link that you send them or visiting your website, that can all factor into how you score your lead. So scoring your leads gives you a very objective way to choose which leads to prioritize. For example, if you're in talks with a decision maker who needs to make a decision in a week, you may score them higher than a lead that involves another decision maker, but they are still in the nurturing stage and are in no rush to make a decision. So, CRMs also allow you to standardize information collection. So, by gathering detailed lead information, it allows for more personalized information and improves the impact of your outreaches. Apart from things like contact information, company information, your team can also note down in the CRM specific needs, activities, interests of the lead. That makes it easier to maintain sales momentum and not having your team scramble to find that information on the fly, or worse, miss an important requirement or criteria that is key to a client's decision. So once a lead is qualified, we then head into phase 2, which is lead conversion. In the CRM, the lead is converted into the 3 key records. The first being account, in which you would store company level information for B2B customers, contact, which holds an individual's details, and they may be associated with a business account, and an opportunity, which represents the deal in progress in which your team is working to close. So if sales reps continue to engage in follow-ups, negotiations, and deal closures, all that progress can be tracked in the CRM's opportunity management tools. Opportunities can also help you track metrics like your expected revenue, allowing you to get a better picture of your forecasted revenue in your sales pipeline. By following a structured life cycle, your CRM ensures that leads are effectively nurtured, qualified, and transitioned into revenue generating opportunities, which helps you optimize your sales performance and efficiency. So I'm going to turn it back over to Paul.
Thank you, Amanda. So who needs a CRM? This is easy. I think everyone, but we're a little biased here at Baywood Consulting. So maybe some of the telltale signs that you want to look for within your organization to give you an indication of, you know what, maybe we should be investigating a CRM for our business. First would be spreadsheets. If you're doing a lot of business on your spreadsheets, and each organization and each person in different factions of the company are using spreadsheets, I think that's a clear indicator. Another one that's closely related is, are you using multiple applications? So has the team or the company bought point-wise solutions for, like, say, a marketing application, another email marketing, or for an accounting package? So is your customer data spread out over spreadsheets and multiple different applications? Another telltale sign would be if organizations are passing spreadsheets back and forth. So the way to communicate data or share data, is through a spreadsheet. I think that's another telltale sign. One that we see, and that's a little bit unfortunate, is institutional knowledge. Is it concentrated on a few indispensable individuals that would put the company at risk if those people left the company? And then, do you really have difficulty tracking leads and following up on opportunities? Just like Amanda mentioned at the top, or a couple of slides ago, just the idea of being able to follow and track those leads. So a couple of months ago, I was catching up with my friend Steve, and he runs sales for a mid-sized company that's doing well. And it was the last day of the quarter, and just casually asked him, "Hey, how's the quarter going?" He brings out his phone, starts scrolling through his phone, doesn't find what he's looking for, puts his phone down, opens up his computer, starts scrolling through, finds an email, looks at a spreadsheet attached to the email, but the email was from 3 days ago. And then he sort of went through memory of what is closed in the last 72 hours, and then came back to me and said, "You know what, we're going to make the quarter. Everything's good." But that was really sort of based on old data and on what he's remembered. This is crucial data for a company to be tracking. And so it was an indicator to me that, you know what, Steve could really use a CRM. Trying to do it through spreadsheets, trying to do it through memory is just not the way to run a large business. So the next slide, please. So who doesn't need a CRM? Again, we're biased. I'd say everyone, but you know what? Here's a few pointers or a few attributes of a company that would be an indicator that a CRM may be overkill for your company. And I hope everyone's not going to go along with this and say like, "Oh, that's us, that's us, that's us." But an organization that has limited data, a company with a simple business model, it's very straightforward. An organization where you know all of your customers and you've got them, you know them personally. And finally, and this is all but if you had no growth plans for your organization, then I think at that point, you know what, CRM is not going to provide much value to you. Thank you. Next slide. So Amanda and I get to see a lot of CRM implementations, and just wanted to sort of talk about what we see. What are the attributes of a CRM implementation that's been successful? And so top and foremost is really it's adopted by the entire organization. So if every team within the company is using the CRM, then I think that's the clear sign that it's working and it's been a successful implementation. Behind that are the keys that make up why it was adopted by the organization. So training is a key part. You want training for all the individuals using the CRM, but you also need training assets, either videos or documentation, for new people that join the company. So it's not a one and done. The people that got in the door first are trained, and then everyone coming in after is sort of struggling to how to use the CRM. It's an ongoing part of onboarding people within your company. The next is workflows are optimized for all departments. So you don't have someone sitting there saying, "Oh, that's just a marketing CRM," or "That's just a sales CRM," but it's really set up and working for all functions of the company. Next, and sort of related to that, would be that the users feel empowered so that to make suggestions. So if they're sort of, "We need this extra field," or "This workflow could be automated in a different way," they feel empowered to say that. And so the whole organization, it's a growing and evolving tool that's making everyone working for everyone. And then I guess finally, I firmly believe that technology should bring joy to the user. And so if all of these attributes are aligned, then the company is basically happy, or the individuals at the company are happy to use the CRM. And so when we go in to interview a company and sort of, "How's your implementation working?" if they are happy to show us and they're sort of proud of, "Hey, this is what it does and this is how we use it," that's really a clear indication back to the implementation was a full success. So the next section we're going to go through is basically talking about the benefits of a CRM for your organization. And this is not meant to be exhaustive, and it's sort of a subjective way how we've cut or divided the different ways that a CRM could be of benefit to a company. By no means is this exclusive, and so there's probably other ways as well. And depending on how you use a CRM, there's other ways that would make it work for your organization. So moving on, this is going to sound a little bit like an infomercial, and it's not meant to be, but so the way we view the benefits of a CRM is that it can increase your sales revenue, it'll enhance your customer relationships and retention, it'll increase efficiency and productivity within the company, it allows you to make data-driven decisions rather than those gut feel decisions, and really it's a starting point to leverage AI. So we're going to go jump into each one of these sections. One of Baywood Consulting's mentors gave a great quote, and I love the quote. It's basically, "Leads are like bread, they go stale." And so if you think about never dropping a lead or an opportunity, as Amanda said, there's a lot of work that goes into trying to move a prospect into a lead. And it would be heartbreaking for all that work to happen, and then you end up dropping that lead simply because of either forgetfulness or disorganization within the company. And so leveraging a CRM allows you to keep track of those leads and opportunities as they flow through. And really the way that they flow through is the sales pipeline. And so a CRM really gives you that visibility on the sales pipeline as it flows right through. Just as a quick sample there, we have, if your company is set up to close 200 deals by the end of the year in order to make your numbers, then you work backwards from that, and that's 16,000 prospects that you need to touch. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's very easy to see that, hey, you know what, some of those could fall through the cracks. So with a CRM, you'll be able to work through all of those prospects into leads and really sort of track where they are in the cycle and make sure that you don't lose any real opportunities just because there's so much not noise, but there's so much activity within the system. And then increase sales productivity. So leveraging the CRM allows you to have reminders of saying, okay, you know what, you're going to call that individual. It reminds you to call the individual so things, again, don't fall through the cracks. It can help in terms of taking notes and sort of summarizing meetings and putting them into the system. So it basically increases the sales team's productivity and allows them to spend more time out there selling. So the buzzword around CRMs you always hear is customer 360. Sounds a little bit markety, but the reality behind it is actually very, very powerful. So if you think of a database that stores every single email you've sent to a customer, every phone call that you've had with the customer, any meeting that you had with the customer in the notes, any customer support issue, and then their complete purchasing history, you have this full rounded view of that customer, and that's what they mean by the customer 360. So a little bit of a side story here. So about a decade ago, I was working at a large company and created a tool as a side hobby during work, and the tool basically just went into the CRM and pulled all of the data that was available. And so this is emails, this is customer support cases, this is infrastructure issues, sales history, pulled it all and summarized it into a single page. Nowadays, that would be done with AI, but a decade ago, it was done by manually with some code. So it was a kind of a cool little tool that I had, and it was useful for me. The real test came when the SVP of sales was doing a tour in Europe and had an unplanned customer visit or a request for a customer visit to a customer that was really unhappy, felt that they weren't being listened to, and was really ready to leave the company, leave as a customer. And so this SVP gave me a phone call. I ran the tool, sent the email attachment with this one pager of everything that the customer has gone through. And it allowed the SVP to go into the meeting with sort of full view of what's the customer's gone through and be empathetic to their situation, understand it fully. And besides solving the problems for that customer, we're able to demonstrate a level of relationship and importance for that customer to our company. And so fortunately, we saved the customer, and they really had a view of that we cared about them. So it's sort of an extreme case, but I think it does show the value of, if you have all of the data in one place, you can really start to look at it and leverage it for improved relationships with your customers. And in this case, it really saved in terms of customer retention. So increased efficiency and productivity. So centralized data is the inverse of customer 360. So if you think of customer 360 as every single touch point that a customer has with your organization, so again, emails, meetings, purchase history, all of that information for a single customer, that's customer 360. Flip it around, and that becomes a centralized database because every one of your customers has all of those touch points in this one system. And so that means that marketing team, the management team, customer service, sales, and product manufacturing are all feeding data into and out of this centralized database. And that allows you to really have a better view of what's going on. So it really eliminates spreadsheets, eliminates the sticky notes on the side of your screen, scattered documents. What this ends up creating is really the single source of truth for customers, for your company. It's the stepping stone to allow for automation of repetitive tasks. So follow-up emails, I mentioned that before, appointment scheduling, marketing campaigns can all be run off of the centralized data. And then in terms of improved team collaboration, you're able to, rather than passing those spreadsheets back and forth, you're able to, multiple teams can be looking at and sharing the same data. So data-driven decisions. So again, another little story here. So I was hired in to run professional services at a company a few years back. And standard thing when you enter a company, you start asking questions of what service offerings are working, which ones are the most, have the highest margin, etc. And the head of sales gave answers back and was very polite, but the answers were sort of more off the cuff as opposed to him looking up data on a system. And so fortunately, the company was using a CRM and had all of the sales information tracked in the CRM, but it also had all of the professional services delivery tracked in the CRM. So all of the projects, all of the time cards and hours that the consultants were delivering to customers was all in this single system. Didn't take too long to pull together some reports and dashboards to show, okay, these are the offerings that are working. These are the offerings that are high margin, low margin. Also gave some interesting insights into the projects that I don't think people had a gut feel for, but didn't have really the data. And so one of those insights was simply projects. We would sell them as this is a 3-month project, but you'd see these projects running 6 months or a year long because the customers were wanting to hold on to those hours and simply said, no, I've got a few hours left on this project. And so that insight was, you know what, we're selling it wrong. We're positioning it to the customer as a number of hours as opposed to it's a fixed time project. So little insights like that started to surface. It allowed us to look at the return on investment in terms of different service offerings. So some of them we were margin high, some of them were margin low. And so we were able to position that information with the sales team to say, okay, hey, these are the service offerings that we want to go to market with. These other ones are not helping the company and not helping our customers either. And then we are able to identify who our best customers were in terms of sometimes the best customers aren't the ones that are spending the most money, but they're the ones that are the most successful and we're generating large revenue or large margin with them. So that's data-driven decisions. All right, so Baywood Consulting did a talk last month at the Chamber on CRM and AI. So there's a caution here, and Rachel, you may have to step in if I start rambling too much. First question, I'd like to sort of throw it out to the group here. Who is using AI in their day-to-day work? And if you could just put your comments in there. And actually, I don't have visibility. Rachel, can you see the comments? Or not? Okay, well, let's move on. So the way I would look at it, oh, cool. Okay, thank you. I've got one comment there. So the way I would look at CRMs and AI is that CRMs is a starting point. So CRMs, everything we've talked about to date right now, is extremely powerful for making your company more optimized, providing better visibility on the customers, and really sort of automating some tasks. I'd look at that as saying that's the starting point for your AI journey. So CRMs allow you to get your data together, get your data organized, and have a lot of benefits there. It's also the stepping point for AI, where AI needs to have clean data, needs to have reliable data that it can start making start doing its generative work on. And so I view getting into a CRM allows you to start leveraging AI and allows you to start really moving into that next level of productivity. And so uncover actionable insights. We talked about this during the meeting, the AI presentation last month. But one way to do that is you take your sales information, you put it into an AI system, and you say, okay, show me the profile of the top customer or the profile of my top customers. Then you take that information, you say, okay, now let's run leads through that. Which leads show the most promise based on that profile? And so that'd be a way to take your existing data and leverage it and filter it to try to find the leads that are the most promising. Automate time-consuming tasks. One thing I find really cool with what we're doing at Baywood is we have a standard AI note taker, and this is not, we're not cutting edge. We're just using one of the common ones available. However, the one we've chosen works with our CRM. So when we finish a meeting with a customer or an internal meeting, stop the call, the note taker AI automatically populates our CRM and says, here's a link to their video, here's the summary of the notes, and also is creating tasks within our CRM to say, okay, you during the meeting you said you were going to follow up and send this document, and so that's all being tracked and automated through leveraging our note taker AI combined with our CRM. Final sort of just example here, and during the talk we had 10 different examples, but another one is sort of increasing accuracy in forecasting. So if you think about the story with Steve, he was having trouble forecasting his current quarter. So with the CRM in place, he would easily be able to get down to, okay, this is where we're going to land to the dollar on our current quarter. Taking that data and running it through, taking that data and running it through AI allows you to start looking at what's your forecast. What does it look like a quarter from now, half a year from now, a year from now? And so you're using your current information, running it through a generative AI, and being able to get much more accurate forecasting and really analyzing your pipeline. Thanks. So moving on to the benefits of an AI. So just going through it. So increased sales revenue. So we talked about that by increasing your revenue by looking at the pipeline and having better visibility and management of your pipeline. So that's those 16,000 prospects all the way down to 200 deals. The next is enhanced customer relationship. By having the customer 360, all the touch points of a customer in a database, you're able to have a much deeper relationship with that customer because you can understand that a support case here, they're coming up to another sale over here. So you just have that full view of the customer and how they interact with your company. The next one is increased efficiency and productivity. So this is really that centralized data. So flipping the customer 360, the converse of that is the centralized data, where all teams are now leveraging the same database, the same CRM to have that view of the customer. This helps, and you're not sending spreadsheets around, passing emails with information and trying to keep track of what's going on. Next is data-driven decisions. Talked about that in terms of the ability to look at your data and have informed decisions. It's not just going by gut feel of this feels right, but it's being able to look at the data and say, okay, this is exactly what's happening. This is what's selling. This is what's not selling. And then possibly getting into the reasons behind that. And Amanda had talked at the start of the presentation around tying that to your campaigns and your marketing. And so really sort of getting that holistic view of how your organization works. And again, based on data-driven decisions. And then finally, leveraging AI. So again, AI is changing how business works, and the ability to take advantage of it is really determined on how's your data structured, how clean is your data, and are you able to leverage your data into these different AI tools. So that's a summary in terms of the benefits of using a CRM. Amanda?
Okay. Yep. So moving on, we're going to head into an example case study. And this case study has been fictionalized to kind of just protect the privacy of our clients, but it has been collated from a real client experience. So our fictional business for today is Blissful Bites Bakery. Opened in 2021, Blissful Bites Bakery, sorry, so it's a bit of a mouthful, is a locally owned artisan bakery that's known for its handcrafted pastries, specialty cakes, and other desserts. The bakery has become a community favorite. They serve walk-in customers, do custom orders for events, and even have wholesale partnerships through local coffee shops. The business has experienced steady growth thanks to strong word-of-mouth reputation, their popular seasonal promotions, and they have a loyal repeat customer base. However, with their growing customer base and the growing number of wholesale clients, as well as a rising volume of online orders, it became very clear that they needed a more structured customer management system. So as the bakery grew, they faced a few key challenges. The first being scattered customer data. The bakery's customer information and their history of interactions with their bakery lived across several different platforms, including things like spreadsheets, emails, and social media DMs, especially with the social media DMs being such an important touch point with customers now. Those vital messages can easily be lost without a system to track them. Which leads to their next challenge, which was inconsistent follow-up with potential customers, as those scattered messages were not followed up on in a timely manner, which caused them to lose out on many potential opportunities, and they let a lot of things fall through the cracks. So the bakery also had no unified platform that tracked purchase history, meaning that there was no easy way for them to see what products individual customers brought the most frequently. Which subsequently meant that it was difficult for the bakery to personalize any marketing efforts. All customers would receive the same promotional emails regardless of their preferences or purchase behavior. And as we all know, nowadays we are inundated with all kinds of marketing emails and spam messages. So when a business, even if it's one that we really enjoy, sends us too much marketing material that's irrelevant to what we want as individuals, it becomes very easy to just tune it all out. And all of these challenges were really a result of this bakery not having a centralized data system. So our solution, obviously, was to implement a CRM. So implementing a CRM allowed the bakery to keep detailed customer profiles, which allowed to keep customer information organized, such as birthdays, preferences, and order history. It also allowed them to create more personal outreach using those personal details. For example, with the birthday, you could send out a birthday discount. Having a CRM also enabled them to track follow-ups in customer interactions. So by keeping all their customer conversations tracked in the CRM, so every time someone sends an email, it would go into the CRM. Same thing with Instagram and Facebook messages. That way, it is a single source of truth for staff to go check to make sure that they are keeping up with following up with those messages. It also allowed the bakery to do more segments in marketing. So the CRM the data in the CRM allowed for the bakery to create segmented email lists based on their client types. For instance, wedding clients, regulars, and wholesale partners would probably not want to see the same email marketing campaigns. It also allowed the creation of targeted campaigns. For example, for new subscribers and customers, you could do a welcome series or discount offers for inactive customers. It also allowed the bakery to do improved inventory planning by letting them analyze which items sell well to what customer segments, which allowed them to inform production and optimize stocking, which led to reduced food waste, which obviously in these times with such high inflation, food and even the raw materials are more and more expensive. So reducing that waste is not only good for the environment, but also better for the bakery's bank account. It also allowed them to plan baking schedules based on historical order trends. So if you know in the mornings that people really like to buy muffins, you can do a big bake of muffins in the morning and plan for different bakes throughout the day. The CRM also allowed them to improve customer retention and build on the loyalty that they already had with their customers. So if a regular customer hadn't ordered in a while, they could send them a "we missed you" email or a small discount to re-engage them, or they could offer early access to new product launches based on that past customer loyalty. Okay. So now we're just going to run through a few scenarios in which the bakery could make use of their CRM. So the first scenario is a B2C or business to customer scenario. So in this scenario, Julia and Daniel, a newly engaged couple, in contact the bakery via email because they're looking for a caterer for their wedding. Specifically, they're looking to order a wedding cake for Blissful Bites. So once they've expressed their interest, they are entered into the CRM as a lead, and their contact information is collected. From there, Blissful Bites replies to their emails, asking a few questions about their flavor preferences and dietary restrictions, and invite them to the bakery for a tasting. Once this happens, Julia and Daniel are converted into contacts in the CRM, where you can keep notes on this meeting and any special requests. Well, it turns out that they have several guests that are diabetic, but Daniel is also sensitive to artificial sweeteners. To account for that, the bakery proposes to the couple that they provide the wedding with 1 3-tier cake and a dozen cupcakes made with artificial sweetener to accommodate both dietary needs. And in the CRM, an opportunity is created wherein any feedback from the couple about the proposal and the quote can be tracked until they accept and the deal is closed. So scenario number 2 is a B2B or business to business scenario. So in this scenario, a restaurant calls up the bakery wanting to purchase a wholesale order of dessert pastries. So at this point in the CRM, a lead is created where the restaurant and contact information is entered and the original call is logged. After some discussion with the restaurant owner, the bakery provides a number of samples of their dessert pastries to the restaurant. And in the CRM, the lead is converted and an account is created for the restaurant and a contact is created for the restaurant owner with their relevant information. From there, when the restaurant provides positive feedback about the sample, the bakery sends the restaurant a quote for the wholesale order. And after that, an opportunity is created in the CRM, and any communications and feedback is given by the restaurant is tracked within that opportunity until once again the deal is closed and the restaurant gets their wholesale order. So we're going to turn it back over to the audience. Does anyone have any questions for us? Okay. Paul, I see a question there from Maiden Events. Spotty customer follow-up continues to be our biggest issue. What would you say is the greatest asset of implementing a CRM?
Do you want me to take this one, Amanda?
Yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
So what I would say is the biggest asset would be the ability to follow through. And so that you've got reminders that you're from the CRM of this person wrote, you can write back, or you said you were going to follow up after you've done some research and you can get notifications. So you're able to continue the whole dialogue with the customer by getting tiny reminders from the CRM of what are the next steps.
Okay. And I see a second question there from Merit. What CRM system do you recommend for a small organization with a lot of contacts but no sales?
I'm wondering, is that because you're starting your journey and you want to increase sales, or is it just sort of the setup of the organization where you need to track contacts? I think through this talk we don't want to be specific on recommending specific CRMs. There's a lot of good ones out there, and I think it's back to if it's implemented properly and really set up for your organization. I would say any of the top tier ones. Okay, thank you, Merit. So it's more services. I would say if it's set up properly, any of the top tier ones would deliver fine for you. But what I would say is if you're looking for if you're delivering services, then look for one that does program management and that you could actually track the services that you're delivering, so that again you're using that centralized data for all of your company's business.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. And sorry, I weaseled out of saying a specific CRM.
Well, to that point, we do send out some follow-up from following this event. So I wonder, like if people from today's call want to get in contact with you, are you comfortable with us sharing your information?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We're more than happy to. More than happy to provide our unfiltered feedback in terms of which CRMs would do better.
Yeah. Oh, we have one last question down there from our Leger Design. Oh, another one. What is a good member-focused CRM, less sales and more B2B connections focused?
So there is, again, it's not good to get into sort of saying this vendor's specific CRM. I think CRM started from, as Amanda said at the start, started from a sales focus, but they've moved on. They're really much more towards more customer 360 as opposed to sales, just the one piece on sales. Their origins start from there, but they've really grown to encompass all aspects of a company. So I don't think I would look for one that's just specific to B2B connections. I would look at it more of it has contact management in there, and therefore you want to look to make sure that the other aspects of your organization that you want to track can be tracked within the CRM. Mm-hmm. We have one from Joey Smith. Interested in learning more about industry-specific CRMs versus traditional CRMs. Love to have a further conversation on that. If I understand the industry-specific, it's more of, well, you know what? Again, I'm going to take a step back and say that I think the technology, the top tier CRMs can all be configurable, can all be customizable, and therefore, I don't think going for an industry-specific one is necessarily a top priority. I would say that looking for one that's going to grow with your business, that can support the nuances of your current business right now with customization, I would look for stuff like that. One from Cribstone. How could I tell which free versus paid CRM is right for a small business? You know what? We'd love to talk to you. I don't think that there's a quick answer on that, but I think if you reached out to us, we would love to have that conversation with you. Yeah.
I think that brings up a very good point. Especially with small businesses just getting off the ground, investments like a CRM can be a bit intimidating. Can you speak a bit to that?
It was our third purchase at Baywood Consulting. So we're a small company, and I can completely understand the sort of the cobbler's children in terms of using the technology. But we really, it's made a world of difference being able to track our leads. As I said, we track all of our conversations and our customer-facing meetings. And so the CRM is really providing value. And right now we're a 3-person company. And so I would say that as soon as it makes sense from a revenue flow perspective, I would invest in a CRM because I think it's probably the biggest return on investment for tooling for a company.
And I wonder how, when you're working with clients and customers, how are you able to show them, I guess, like data-wise, what the benefit is of having a CRM? Because I know like it always comes down to the bottom line, right? And people like to see numbers. Yeah, I'm good at that.
I think so. I think it's through dialogue. I don't think there's a magic sort of spreadsheet that we pull out and sort of like, voila, here's it. I think it's looking at sort of, okay, you've got all of these leads, and how many of them are falling through the cracks? Are you able to keep up with all of them or not? Because that could be missed opportunity for sales down the road. The other end of the extreme is, are your customers? Are you tracking all of the information about your customers? Because customer retention is it's much cheaper to keep a customer than it is to try to get a new customer and start them through that whole sales pipeline again. So I would say it's more of what would you be missing in terms of if some of these things fell through the crack and you didn't have good visibility on it.
Thank you. That was my selfish question.
No worries. I appreciate it.
I think we have another one.
So you mentioned running your CRM data through AI tools. Are you speaking of AI native to the CRM system or an external AI tool in particular? Yes. So I would say both. And what I didn't do a good job when I was talking about AI, and we really hit on it during the AI CRM session. Be very careful. So there's public and private LLMs out there, large language model tools, and some of the top tier CRMs have AI built into them, and that's safe, and they're private and sort of fenced off in terms of where your data is going. If you're taking your CRM data and putting it through a public LLM, you have to be very careful because that data is being used to train to train the LLM. The big caveat there would be to make sure that you're anonymizing your data, you're hiding dates, you're hiding numbers, and so you're not giving up your company secrets, basically your data, to the public. And so so it can be a combination. You can have internal AI to the CRM, or you can have AI tools and leverage AI tools external to the CRM, with the caveat of be careful what data you're putting into them. Cool. Yeah, I'd love to continue that conversation because, again, we can go on for a while with AI, and I think it's a real game changer, but it starts with having the right data.
Well, I think that is kind of a running theme across a lot of our programming here at the Chamber. We've touched upon AI in various industries and various capacities. So when I heard you mention it, it hadn't even come to my mind that, I thought the CRM was doing right. That how would AI heighten this value of this experience? But you've addressed it, and it seems like there are just, to be honest, many pending options to utilize it within your CRM.
Yeah, I think the talk that we gave, it basically had at the end of it 10 different scenarios of how to leverage AI with your CRM data. I think that was just scratching the surface, and I think 6 months from now that list could easily be double in size in terms of just the creative ways that you can leverage it. But I go back to, it's really having the right data. So if you have the right data, then you can start leveraging these tools and sort of the evolution of the tools. If you don't have the right data, then sort of garbage in, garbage out. You won't get much benefit out of using an AI tool.
I think actually, Amanda, I think you said that you had one more slide.
Yep.
So
if we're done with the Q&A, we can just kind of...
Sorry, we took it off stage.
Well, let me go through this quickly. So I let the word drop a couple of times, the S word, Salesforce. So we are a Salesforce consulting company. What we specialize in is implementations. We do migrations from other CRM systems to Salesforce. And we also do health assessments with existing Salesforce implementations. So everything from implementation, migrations, and sort of optimizations of existing Salesforce deployments. We are proudly Maine-based, and we have joined the 1-1-1 model. And what that means, if you haven't heard of it, is that companies sign up for it, and we say that every year we're going to give 1% of our profits, 1% of our product, and 1% of our time back to the local communities. This started with Salesforce. There's thousands of companies that have signed up for it, and it's really a great way, and something that we believe in terms of giving back to the community. We have a QR code there, so we'd love to have a conversation. If this piqued the curiosity of anyone in terms of, hey, you know what, maybe I wouldn't mind exploring a CRM. More than happy to have a free consultation. No commitments to it. We just love talking about CRMs. And we can also do a health assessment in terms of where your data is and how ready you'd be for a CRM. So feel free to use that QR code or shoot an email to myself or Amanda. Once again, just thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you.
Yes, thank you so much to both of you for giving your time to the Chamber and our community this morning. Yeah, just such as assets like these grow in their ability to support businesses and their services and their work, it's somewhat hard to keep up with. So knowing we have experts like you who can kind of break it down for us normal folk in normal language is really, really helpful. So Paul and Amanda, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who attended this morning, and really great engagement in the comments section. It was great to run through these questions with everyone. And as I mentioned, we will be sending that follow-up email where contact information will be for Baywood Consulting, as well as that link to the recording of today's presentation. And of course, I don't want to forget to thank Riley, my colleague here at the Chamber, for being the man behind the curtain and making everything move on screen today. Thank you so much, Riley. And just one more final thank you to Paul and Amanda. Again, be sure to check your email for that follow-up email with more information so that you can continue the conversation with Baywood Consulting. And now, if you're interested in presenting at Growth Basics for Business or know of an industry professional who might be interested, please visit our website, portlandregion.com, to submit an event proposal. Any questions, our team's direct contact information with emails can be found on our website as well. So with that, thank you again for attending this morning's event. We'll see you next month on Tuesday, November 18th, right here on Growth Basics for Business. Have a lovely day.